Si Benji Alejandro sa DZME 1530. Una sa kanan, ang himpilang may paninindigan.
Thank you so much, Kuyang Alex. Thank you so much, Kuyang Amiel. Thank you so much, Ma'am Jo. Dire-diretso na po tayo sa ating pagsasahing papawid, ano? Ngayon pong araw, ano tayo ngayon, Martes ho tayo. Ingat lang ho tayo, mga kabayan, ha? Ngayon po, mapalad ho tayo, meron ho tayo makakapanayam. Pahingi ho tayo ng mga, kahit po papano, yung ating mga observers, no? Nasa linya po si, mamagitan po ng ating Zoom facilities, ng studios ng DCME 1530. Ang isa po nating kaibigan at kilala rin po to sa usapin po ng pagtalakayo sa mga issue may kinalaman po sa lipunan natin negosyo at ganoon na rin po sa usapin ng politika at geopolitics. Wala pong iba tinutukoy natin kundi po si Ginoong George Siy ng Integrated Development Studies and Studies Institute o IDSI. Ano ho, mga kabayan? Maaga po, papasalamat to kahit papaano tinanggap po yung ating tawag. Sir George, good morning sir. Magandang umaga po. George,
Magandang
good morning
umaga,
sir.
Benji. Always
Salamat po sa pagtanggap po sa tawag. Unang-una ho sa lahat, 2 araw na lang po, sir. At talagang pinakahihintay na yung pag-alis ho ng Duterte administration at papasok po naman nito pong si PBBM. Ano po ba ang mga nakikita nyo dito, Sir George?
Well, nakikita natin dito na ang lahat ay nagiging mas kalmado at na-accept ng lahat na itong mga unang mga desisyon at appointment niya ay maganda-ganda at maski yung mga foreign, although hindi lahat naman sumasang-ayon pero majority yung mga key positions, even yung mga foreigners sa foreign media at foreign governments ay nagsasabi na maganda ang mga napili. So ito ay nakaka-add ng confidence. Siyempre, hinihintay natin yung actual na action na lumabas. No? So everything's looking good. Yeah, it's looking good right now. The investors are coming back in.
That's good. Ang mga hinihintay na lang po dito sa Foreign Affairs, ang hinihintay na lang po sa Department of Energy, Department of Health. Pero yung ang isa po sa mga naging pronouncement ata ng incoming administration na Sir George o George ay itong sa agricultural portfolio na mismo nga hawakan na PBBM na. Sabi nga niya at least for the meantime yung seguridad ng pagkain sa ating hapagkainan na George.
Yeah, talagang ito ay napaka-importante at sa ibang mga bansa ngayon ay nagkakaroon ng problema. In fact, many of them are having shortages sa mga main staple nila, lalo na yung mga sa Europe. Yung iba, main na pagkain nila ay yung tinapay, breads and bread equivalents at ginagamit lang wheat sa pag-produce nito at yung wheat ay majority ng exports ay pinapadala ng binibenta galing sa Russia at Ukraine kaya nagka-problema sila. Pero dahil sa itong shortage ng wheat, ilang mga bansa na nag-export ng rice ay karamihan ay nagsabi na they might control the export. So itong India, Vietnam, China have said they might limit the exports of rice or maybe even ban it. So it's something na dapat natin paghandaan na maaring mangyari yan dahil normally may deficit tayo ng ilang hundred. If we have good harvest, we have a deficit of a few 100,000 tons of rice. If we have a bad harvest here, we might have 2 or 3 million tons of rice na deficit. No?
Sinasabi nyo na ililimit, ibig sabihin, ipaprioritize muna nila yung kanilang domestic consumption bago sila mag-e-export. Ganun ang ibig sabihin nito, George.
Tama ho. At ito ay dapat rin maging attitude natin sa mga kung ano-ano at ibang bagay. Hindi lang sa pagkain. Tulad natin, sabihin natin sa langis, itong mga ibang bansa ay bumibili sa Russia. This includes European countries, Japan, India, Israel, ganyan. At bakit tayo ayaw natin i-consider ito, natatakot tayo sa mga sanction ng US, parang kontrolado yata tayo ng US. We should be friends with everybody, pero huwag tayong magpa-control dahil napakalaki ng difference. Alam natin yung gasolino dito na ang taas-taas na, no?
Oo.
When you buy from Russia, they're giving a discount of $30.
Pero ang sinasabi ko dito sa sanction ho na ito, mukhang ewan ko kung meron ako nabasang isang impormasyon na dito sa sanction na ito na target ay ang Russia, hindi naman naapektuhan ng Russia. Actually, ang naapektuhan ay yung buong mundo, pero lalo pang kumita daw ang Russia. At ngayon, ang economic, yung mga gustong produkto na under ng economic sanction o na sanction na ipinatutupad ng Amerika at mga kaalyado nito, manggagaling sa kanila. Tama ba yung obserbasyon nito, George? Sir George?
I think depende sa kung anong bansa, no? Pero naapekto naman ang Russia, pero mas malaki ang epekto sa West dahil nabawasan ang pagbenta ng Russia, pero nadagdagan ang pagbenta niya sa ibang bansa tulad ng India, nag times 20 ang pagbili niya ng langis at gas, no? At yung China rin bumili sa kanya. So na-replace niya yung pagbebenta ng mga gasoline at gas sa Europe ay na-replace niya. Hindi lang ganoon dahil sa umakyat ang presyo ng langis na halos magdoble, so nabawasan man ng benta niya, nataas pa yung income niya. So right now, siya ay may highest surplus trade ever, no? So lalong lumaki ang kita niya. Ito minsan meron tayong gustong gawin, ang effect actually ay nagiging kabaligtaran.
Boomerang, nagbo-boomerang.
Oh, nagbo-boomerang.
Okay.
Yes.
Sir George, itong dito sa atin dito, syempre importante ngayon dito sa ating hapagkainan, sabi nga po pagkain at talagang hindi lang naman po ang ibang mga hindi lang ang Pilipinas ang talagang nakakadama. Domestically meron din meron din atang problema na dapat ayusin lalo lang kung ipinalala pa o lalo pang ilalagay sa alanganin ng ating pong food security dito sa mga external factors na ito, Sir George.
Meron tayong external at internal problem, no, where food security is concerned. Sa external ho ay yung foreign exchange ay moving against the peso, no. Number two, there's a supply shortage, and this supply shortage is generally caused by the US policies. Paano natin sinasabi ito? Dahil ginagawa nilang sanction sa iba't ibang bansa sa langis at sa pagkain at natatamaan din yung fertilizer. So tayo ay nagkakaroon ng tumaas masyado ang presyo ng fertilizer. Pangalawa, so aside from the sanction, their monetary policy is causing inflation, and also their own country is reducing its production because many of the people in the West, they don't want to work, no, now currently. So ito ay maraming naging issue sa production, at yung logistics rin naging problema dahil they're blocking nag-aaway yung ibang mga position, they're blocking the logistics. Ngayon, itong sa internal naman domestic natin ay there are several issues. Number one, maganda ang naging effect ng build at nagkaroon na ng kalye sa lahat ng mga production areas ng bansa ng agriculture. So more than ever before, dati sinasabi na kulang ang roads, hindi na kulang ang roads ngayon. Pero siguro yung mga storage facilities tinatayo pa. Yung malaking problema natin sa production is because of land reform, tapos nagkaroon na ng 2 generations na nagmana yung mga anak. Yung average farm size sa next current pagmamana, yung mga 1 hectare magiging 2,000 meters each na lang. So napakaliit, hindi economical. So yung teknolohiya natin na ginagamit ay hindi fit para sa ganyang kalit na farm. No, we are not high-tech, so kailangan natin large farms. So either we go back to allowing the consolidation of these farms and going industrial, or it's not worth it. We also have the problem of demographics dahil sa yung mga farmers na papag-aral na sa mga anak. Sabihin natin talagang gumanda naman ekonomiya ng Pilipinas, karamihan nakakapag-aral, lalo na sa free education na binibigay ni Digong. Ang nangyari is all these young people, they don't want to be farmers anymore. So yung average age ng farmer natin, 65, at konti na lang yung sumasali sa pamilya sa farming. Gusto nila lahat sa city magtrabaho
blue collar job.
yeah, blue collar, pero yung maganda rin sa probinsya ngayon, nagkakaroon ng development, nagkakaroon ng mall, nagkakaroon ng yan. So not everyone's going to the city, and they are also doing their work from home, serving foreign companies directly through the internet. Maraming nagtatrabaho ng ganun rin.
Mhm. Sir George, ito po bang I'm sorry sir. Ito po bang sinasabi ho ni PBBM no nung i-anunsyo niya na hahawakan niya ang tinatawag po na agricultural Department of Agriculture. May binanggit siyang value chain. Ito ba yung binabanggit ho ninyo, yung pag-review ng value chain sa agrikultura?
Tama ho, itong value chain ay buong pipeline, no? Magsimula 'yan sa there is a physical and a psychological or technological value chain. Itong value chain natin, as we said, yung sa transport from the different ports has improved because of the RoRo has been resumed by Digong, no? Which was stopped in the previous administration. The roads have been built. Pero yung other parts of the value chain from abroad, the supply of fertilizer, the potential supply of rice and other commodities ay naging issue, no? Siguro yung cold chain and these things have become because we're not talking only about rice, we're talking also about chicken, about piggery at isda. So itong cold chain ay napaka-importante, kailangan para ring ma-improve. Although ngayon marami nang nag-invest dito, both local and foreign. Hindi pa na-complete ito. Yung management chain, na-improve rin yung soft part of the chain because of the internet. Maraming nakakapagbenta directly to the stores or to the villages, no? So the farmers are able to bypass some middlemen. So nag-integrate. So maraming magandang nangyayari. Maraming pang kailangan mangyari.
Ang sinasabi daw po ngayon ito sa mga bagamat hindi pa umupo no pero yung tawag po nila ay policy of continuity itutuloy daw po ng PBBM administration.
Yeah, itong si not that we know, some people say that meron ba siyang alam sa agriculture, but what we've seen is that even in the areas, nobody knows everything, but so far he's been selecting people. A lot of the people, maybe not all, but a lot of the people he selected are people known to have expertise in their area. So we can also see from yung initial pronouncements niya, hindi basta-basta yung announcement ng policy na in the last few days or the announcements that have been made by him, no? They have been very measured. So maaari nating matansya na siya ay gumagamit ng mga advisors at yung mga advisors na medyo balansyado at may kakayahan mag-advise sa kanya-kanyang area.
Anyway, iba naman po ako no ng isang issue yung inyo pong grupo bilang isa pong think tank organization. Recently, ang IDSI po may pinalabas so atang isang statement may kinalaman po sa US-ASEAN Summit na katatapos lamang at sinasabi po ata ng IDSI na in-expose lang ho nito yung tunay na priorities ho nitong Amerika, no ha? Sa katatapos ho, no, na pulong na sana na inimbitahan doon si President Digong, hindi naman dumalo at sabi nga ni President Duterte, hayaan na ang susunod na administrasyon. Ano po ba ang take nyo dito at bakit po sinabi ng IDSI na in-expose lang ho ng Amerika yung kanyang real priorities dito sa katatapos na US-ASEAN Summit, Sir George?
Well, ito ay dahil sa ang sinabi ni Digong ay dapat tayo ay maging neutral at huwag tayong makisama sa yung away ng iba. Pero ang labas niyan ay he was saying he's not going, but maybe he asked Teddy Boy to go, no? So we don't hold that against him. But then his statements, so we are the only ASEAN country who's making statements against Russia na kailangan natin alalahanin nung nagkaroon ng Marawi, tinulungan tayo ng Russia. Yung US, binlock yung mga pagbenta ng armas dito. Pati yung hindi sarili nila, yung sa EU ng mga bala at mga armas, binlock ng US. Kung kailan na pinakakailangan natin, parang gusto tayong lumuhod sa kanila at sumunod sa lahat ng gusto nila. At during that time, China and Russia sent plane loads of arms that helped us to fight ISIS na tayo ay maaring maging parang Middle Eastern country na nag-collapse yung buong bansa, no? Ilan ang na-collapse, no?
Mm.
We are able to recover. In fairness, later on, yung US also decided to release the arms and did assist us. So, we have to have negotiating position. It's like anything in life. It's parang panliligaw. Maganda kung merong ibang nanliligaw sa'yo, mas nare-respect ka ng mga kausap mo, no?
Mm. Lalo pang marami pang pipila, marami pang magkaka-interest naman manuyo sa iyo, no, Sir George.
Makita nga natin na nung sa previous administration ni Pinoy, ni President Benigno Simeon Aquino III, he was trying to protect us, and so he had good relations with Japan and the US, and he did not have that understanding a relation with China for reasons that we understand naman. We have a territorial dispute. Pero nung sa time niya, we were friendly with Japan and the US. But in the time of Digong, nung dumami ang investments ng China dito, nag-multiply rin ang investments ng Europe, US, and Japan to the Philippines. Ito ay effect ng isang psikolohiya sa negosyo tulad ng sa ordinary person. Pag pumasok yung ilang tao, yung iba gusto na ring sumama. When China made the investments at gumanda ang negosyo dito, pati mga investors from the US ignored their government and invested here also. And the Japan multiplied its investment here. So naging much bigger. So maganda para sa Pilipinas.
Sinasabi nga daw po dito daw sa ginawang parang estratehiya ni President Digong pagdating po sa foreign policy. Gumaya daw ho yung mga bansang in Vietnam, Indonesia, Venezuela. Ayun, at pinasok na rin sila ng iba pang mga investment na dati-dati minamalit sila. Lalo na daw po yung Solomon Islands. Ngayon naging interest na. Pinag-interesan na rin sila ng mga bansang malalaking bansa. Sir George.
Tama ho. Yung Vietnam gumaya, maraming bansang gumaya sa Pilipinas at nag-multiply yung investments nila dahil lahat ay nagko-kompetensya para pumasok diyan. As nabanggit mo nga yung Solomon Islands, so many years hindi pinapansin ng US at ng Europe, pero nung China said they're going to invest there and build a port there, biglang US and Europe pumunta at nagsusuyo, no? So ito ay but that doesn't take away na maybe in some areas we can adjust in different ways, not directly based on the problem. I wanted to suggest that, let's say, in terms of the food security, worldwide, it's coming out that people are trying to control their consumption of carbohydrates also, no? Because dahil dito ay nagkakaroon ng maraming sugar problems pagtanda. So we have a food problem that will convert itself into a health problem later on in life, and will make it very expensive for the country to maintain the health pagka marami ay nagka-diabetes. So maybe we should also adjust to some extent our diet to other types of food na the vegetables maybe more than rice, no? But meanwhile, the idea of BBM na isusubsidize niya ang bigas para sa Pilipinas, this is good for the consumer. Some people are saying that it might not be good for the farmer, pero it depends on how the subsidy is done. I think if the subsidy is paid to the local farmer and other techniques, no, para lahat naman ay makinabang o wala namang ma-hurt masyado dito sa mga kailangan gawin. But there are things that need to be done, no? In the end, the people have to not suffer that much, no, because of this,
Isa po kasi sa mga parang ito ka George, gusto ko lang sa inyo itanong, being also nakatutok po kayo sa tawag nito, investment coming from China at ganoon din po sa Filipino-Chinese community dito po sa atin. Kahit nakikita ho yung tulong na galing po sa China, bakit po may mga hindi ko lang ma-quantify kung gaano kadami ng bilang mga Pilipino yung bang tinatawag na nananatili pa rin po yung China bashing o Chinese bashing, o lalo na pagdating po sa tulong ang sinasabi, hindi, meron namang ibang interest yan, at saka yung sinasabing debt trap to na ganyan, parang hindi pa rin po sila makumbinsi sila nating mga kababayang Pilipino. Sir George, bakit po ganun?
Ito ay natural dahil sa may territorial dispute tayo with China. But the projection of DFA and others that this is just black and white and this is the only thing to be concerned about. Hindi ito practical because all countries that are progressive know that even if you have disputes sa isang area, ay mananatili na you will continue to do business and deal with people on other issues. Just like families, maski na may alitan ka sa kung anumang issue, sa financial or sa personal issues, you continue to build up the family. So makita na yung Vietnam na siya ang pinaka dinurog siya ng US. They killed 3 million civilians and 3 million people are having physical defects dahil sa yung chemical warfare na ginamit ng US. Pero ngayon, they are working very closely together and the US is a very strong ally of Vietnam against China. And meanwhile, even though siya ay nag-aaway sa China dahil din sa teritoryo. Pero yung presidente niya, after nagkaroon ng riots against Chinese businesses in Vietnam, 2 months later, he went with 200 top business people and nakisuyo siya. And that is why they have nearly $10 billion of investment in the last 2 or 3 years from Chinese factories. And then because they are booming, then all the investments from Europe are also coming. At hindi lang ganyan. If we look at Japan, may away siya on the Sakhalin Islands with Russia. But they have decided, instead of fighting, let us develop the oil wells together. So even the US wants to sanction Japan, hindi niya kayang isanction ng Japan. Gusto niyang isanction, hindi niya kaya dahil sa gusto niya si Japan to be an ally against China. So Japan is going to continue and going to do Number one, they are buying oil from their own territory, Sakhalin. They claim as theirs that Russians are providing to Japan. May away sila, but they're buying the oil from the very islands they are claiming. And then they are now going to do a joint venture there. So this is practicality lang no? So you know that is, we understand that there's a dispute, we understand how some of the people feel, but there are also those na nakikigulo lang dahil sa sobrang bilib sa US. I think partly it's the culture, partly the hand of the US. Minsan nakikialam ang US dyan, no? Dahil sa yun mga kumukontra, marami ay US citizens, but sila lumalaman, they have chosen to be US citizens, they turn their back on the Filipinos. Sila Lloyda Lewis, American citizens, bakit nakikigulo dito? Bakit itong mga ibang nagsusulat ganyan? Sila ay already chose to be, even some of our, let's say some of our government officials nakikisali dito, but they have chosen to be US citizens. They have denounced the Philippine citizenship. Although may dual citizenship tayo na ni-recognize ng Philippines. Pero when they took the US citizenship, they had to denounce the...
Tsaka ano na yun, Ka George, syempre, kaduda-duda na ang loyalty niyan pagka dalawa na ang iyong nationality.
I think kaduda-duda ang loyalty. I don't doubt that they still love the Philippines because yung ganyan, as the same way that we think that we should look at both sides, even tayo, hindi natin sila, we don't look at them as all evil, no? They want what's good for the Philippines, but their philosophy might not be that practical and might be restricted on the way they think, no? So we want to, open their minds and the minds of our countrymen. There's so many things for us to do. There's so many growth areas. No, if we're talking about the claims South China Sea is an issue, then how come the DFA doesn't claim back Sabah? Sabah may titulo tayo eh. It's land eh. There's 10 producing oil wells for the last 50 years. A gold tin mine. Hindi yan dagat na tubig na wala kang maano. And there is territorial seas around it. But hindi sila mag-claim yan? Bakit hindi na i-claim yun Pugad Island na Vietnam took from us? Why don't they declare when they talk about Julian Felipe reefs that Chinese occupy 2 reefs, the Vietnamese occupy 4. The islands in South China Seas, China occupies 7 or 8. The Vietnam occupies 48. No, so why don't they claim these? No, but I'm not saying that we should not be claiming, but we're saying that bakit parang napaka one-sided, no? Anyway, let's do what's good for the Filipino people. We just go ahead and work, no?
Okay. So ibig sabihin po dito, Sir George o Ka George, na kahit meron kang dispute, you can do business. I-set aside mo muna yung mga differences, but for the meantime, itutukan yung kung saan pwedeng pwede pong kapakit-pakinabang sa magkabilang parte partido, Sir George.
Yes, that's right. One is that we should be practical. may away ako sa iyo, we have a dispute on one transaction, we can still do others, no? And we can learn a lot from each other. Maybe maski dehado ako sa iyo ngayon sa negosyo or in life, pero may matutunan ako sa iyo, yung network na mga contacts mo magagamit ko. Meron pa rin ako mga papakinabangan. I have to be humble. Maybe my situation is different. When I am more powerful or I'm more well established, then you will also respect me, because this is if I'm weak, nobody is going to respect me. If I'm stronger, people respect me. But if we get respect by relying on someone else, ang mangyari is we're just shifting one type of person controlling us to another. We're not better off. Nagiging football tayo. At ito ay nakita natin sa sitwasyon ng Ukraine. Nakiaway. They have nearly 30,000 people in Ukraine who died already. Millions of people are leaving. The country is crushed. What is the US going to do? Sabi nila, oh, you can buy more arms from us. We will lend you the money to buy the arms. Ano ba yan? You asked me to fight for you. Tapos, kasi meron silang bagong program. Kung they're giving partial na donation of arms. But they're also saying, if you want more, you can borrow sa Lend-Lease program. So ano ba yan? They're fighting and dying for you. And then you are saying you will lend them money to buy your arms. Na profit goes to your own country. Ano ba yan?
Well, Sir George, ako po ay nagpapasalamat sa oras na pinagkalubon ninyo at kahit paano maaga ko kayo nagising as always, nagpapaunlak po kayo ng panayam. Salamat po, sir.
Thank you, Benji. Yeah, and thank you to all our listeners and your audience, no?
Thank you, sir. Okay,
Good
have a
morning
good
to
day
everyone.
po. All right. Si Mr. George Siy, mga kaboses, siya po naman ang mula sa Integrated Development Studies Institute, sa pong think tank, at ito po naman ay nagbibigay din po naman ng mga pahayag at mga usapin po, lalong-lalo na sa geopolitics at sa usapin po naman ng Philippine-China relations, at ganoon na rin po sa iba pang mga usapin na may kinalaman po naman sa foreign relations.